They walked into my conference room like they owned it. Glass doors swung open. Late afternoon sun cut through the windows behind me, throwing long shadows across the polished table. I was reviewing quarterly reports when I heard the click of heels on hardwood, then the heavier tread of dress shoes, my ex-wife, her new husband. And behind them, my company's legal officer looking like someone had just told him his dog died. I didn't stand up. "David," she said. My name came out clipped, formal. We hadn't spoken in 16 months. "We need to talk." "You have an appointment?" I kept my eyes on the spreadsheet. "We don't need one." That was him. Gerald, 42, investment banker, the kind of guy who wears cufflinks to breakfast. He dropped a leather folder on the table between us. "We're here about your company." I looked up then. Studied them both. Claire looked good. She always did. Blonde hair pulled back, navy suit that probably cost $3,000, diamond studs that definitely did. Gerald stood beside her like a bodyguard, arms crossed, chin up. "My company," I said. "Half of it." Claire sat down, uninvited. Gerald remained standing. "We're filing a motion to recalculate the divorce settlement. Your business has grown significantly since our separation. The valuation was based on outdated numbers." I leaned back in my chair. "The divorce was finalized 18 months ago. You got the house in Marin, the apartment in Manhattan, and $7 million in liquid assets. We're done." "The company was valued at $40 million then," Gerald said. He opened the folder, pulled out a stapled document. "Current estimates put it at $500 million. Maybe more. That's a $460 million discrepancy. That's called building something." "That's called hiding assets," Claire said. Her voice had that edge I remembered from the last year of our marriage, sharp enough to cut. "We have lawyers who specialize in this, forensic accountants. They've already begun reviewing your financials." I picked up the document, skimmed it, legal jargon mostly, but the numbers were there, projected valuations, asset breakdowns, property listings, and at the bottom, a claim for $250 million plus interest and penalties. "This is insane," I said. "This is fair." Claire leaned forward. "You built that company during our marriage. I supported your work. I raised our children while you were traveling, making deals, networking. I'm entitled to my share." "You got your share. We got scraps." Gerald again. He was enjoying this. I could see it in the way he stood, the set of his shoulders. "Your lawyers lowballed the valuation. They knew what you were building. They knew the expansion plans, and they buried it under shell companies and deferred revenue schemes." "That's a serious accusation." "It's a fact." He pulled out another document. This one was thicker. "We have documentation, board minutes, strategic planning memos, emails discussing growth projections, all dated before your divorce was finalized." I set the papers down. Looked at my legal officer. He was standing by the door, pale, uncomfortable. We'd discuss his presence here later. "Even if any of this was true," I said slowly, "the settlement is closed. You can't just reopen it because you don't like the outcome. California law allows for modifications in cases of fraud or material misrepresentation." Claire's voice was calm now. Cold. "We're not asking, David. We're informing you. The filing goes to the court tomorrow morning. Your assets will be frozen pending investigation. Your board will be notified. Your investors will be notified. You'll destroy the company. We'll get what we're owed." She stood up. "You had a chance to be fair. You chose greed. Now you'll pay for it." They turned to leave. Gerald picked up the folder, but Claire paused at the door, looked back. "The kids are on our side," she said. "They've already given depositions. They're prepared to testify about your neglect, your priorities, your character. This isn't just about money, David. It's about justice." The door closed behind them. I sat there for a long time after they left. The sun moved across the windows. Shadows lengthened. My legal officer was still standing by the door like he expected me to explode. "How long have you known?" I asked. 2 weeks. They approached me directly, said if I cooperated, they'd keep my name out of it. And you believed them. I didn't know what to believe. He looked down. They have documentation, David. Real documentation. Emails you sent, projections you approved. If they push this, it could... Get out. David, out. He left. I picked up the document again. Read it properly this time. Every page, every clause, every accusation. They'd done their homework. The timeline was detailed. The evidence was specific. Someone had been feeding them information for months, maybe longer. And then I saw it, buried in the attachments. A list of supporting witnesses, my daughter's name, my son's name. Both of them had signed affidavits. Both of them had provided testimony. Both of them were claiming I'd hidden assets, manipulated valuations, defrauded their mother, my own children. I pulled out my phone, called my son first. It rang 4 times before going to voicemail. I didn't leave a message. Called my daughter. Same result. I sat back, stared at the ceiling. The company was legitimate. Every valuation was accurate. Every financial disclosure was complete. I'd built this business from nothing. A single warehouse in Oakland 12 years ago, expanded it into a network of logistics hubs and distribution centers across 6 states. Freight coordination, warehousing, data infrastructure, nothing glamorous, just smart, hard work, and good timing. And now my ex-wife and her banker husband wanted to take half of it because they'd done the math and realized they could. I pulled up my contacts, found a name I hadn't called in years. Private investigator, retired cop. The kind of guy who knows how to find things people don't want found. "It's been a while," he said when he answered. "I need everything on Gerald Hastings," I said. "Employment history, financial records, lawsuits, affairs, parking tickets, everything." "This about your ex?" "It's about my company." "When do you need it?" "Yesterday." "I'll call you in 48 hours. I hung up, made another call. This one to my accountant, then my insurance broker, then my operations manager. By the time I finished, it was dark outside. The building was empty. Security lights hummed in the parking lot below. I drove home slowly, took surface streets instead of the highway, gave myself time to think. My wife, my current wife, Rachel, was in the kitchen when I walked in. She looked up from her laptop, smiled, then saw my face. "What happened?" I told her. She listened without interrupting. When I finished, she closed her laptop, poured 2 glasses of wine, handed me one. "Do they have a case?" she asked. "Not a legitimate one. But they don't need one. They just need to create doubt. Tie up the company in litigation, spook the investors, force me to settle. Will you?" "No." She studied me over the rim of her glass. Rachel was younger than Claire by 8 years, but she wasn't naive. She'd been a corporate attorney before we met. She knew how these things worked. "What are you going to do?" she asked. "I'm going to let them think they're winning," I said. "And then I'm going to take everything." She didn't ask how. She just nodded. We sat there for a while, silent, drinking wine. The house was quiet. We'd moved here 2 years ago, smaller than the Marin place, less showy, but it was ours. No history, no ghosts. "The kids," Rachel said finally. "That's what's bothering you. They chose sides. They chose money. It's not the same thing." "It's close enough." She reached across the table, took my hand. "Whatever you're planning, be smart. Don't let anger drive it." "I won't." But I was lying. The anger was already there, hot and bright and crystalline, not the explosive kind that makes you do stupid things, the cold kind, the patient kind, the kind that waits. I went to bed early that night, couldn't sleep, lay there staring at the ceiling, running through scenarios, what they knew, what they didn't know, what they thought they knew. Around 3 in the morning, my phone buzzed, text message, unknown number. They're celebrating. Thought you should know. Attached was a photo. Claire and Gerald at a restaurant I recognized. Downtown. Expensive. They were toasting champagne, smiling, triumphant. I deleted the message. But I didn't delete the image. I got up, went to my office, pulled up files I hadn't looked at in months, property deeds, insurance policies, transfer agreements, shell companies I'd set up years ago for tax purposes, holding entities, subsidiaries, and then I found it. The thing they'd missed. The one clause in one document that changed everything. I smiled for the first time that day. By dawn, I had a plan. While you're here, hit the hype button, don't forget to subscribe and support this channel with a like. And tell us below, have you ever faced something like this? My son called me back at 9 the next morning. I was at the office, early. The building was still quiet. Most of the staff wouldn't arrive for another hour. I'd spent the night going through documents, making notes, checking and rechecking numbers. "Hey," he said when I answered. Casual, like nothing had happened. "We need to talk." "Dad, look. In person. Tonight." Silence on his end. I could hear traffic in the background. He was probably driving to work. Tyler was 28, worked in commercial real estate downtown, made good money, drove a car I'd co-signed for. "I don't think that's a good idea right now," he said. I wasn't asking. "Dad, 7 o'clock, your place or mine?" More silence. Then, "Fine, my place." He hung up. I called my daughter next. Melissa was 31, married, lived in Palo Alto. She worked in tech marketing. Her husband was a software engineer at one of the big firms. They had a nice house, nice cars, nice life. I'd helped with the down payment. She didn't answer. I left a voicemail. "We're having dinner tonight, Tyler's apartment, 7 o'clock. Be there." I hung up. Spent the rest of the day working, normal work, operational stuff, inventory reports, staffing issues, contract negotiations, the kind of grinding detail work that built the business in the first place. My assistant kept looking at me like she expected me to snap. I didn't. I smiled at her, asked about her weekend, complimented her new haircut. At 4, the investigator called. "Gerald Hastings," he said, 42, NYU undergrad, Columbia MBA. Worked at Goldman for 6 years, moved to a boutique firm, got fired for ethics violations that never went public. Started his own advisory company 3 years ago. Clients are mostly high net worth individuals looking for aggressive tax strategies. Aggressive. The kind that dance along the edge of legal. He's been investigated twice by the SEC. Nothing stuck. But he's got a reputation. People either love him or won't touch him. And personally? Married once before, divorced, no kids, pays his bills, drives a Tesla, lives in a condo in Soma that's probably worth $2 million. And here's the interesting part. He's been meeting regularly with your ex-wife for 6 months. Started way before they got married. How long have they been married? 4 months. I did the math. They'd been planning this for a while. Anything else? He's got a gambling problem. Online poker. Lost about 60 grand last year. Made it back, but he's deep in that world. And there's a woman in Walnut Creek. Not your ex. Sees her every Thursday afternoon. You're sure? I've got photos. Send them to me, everything you've got. Already in your email. I hung up, opened my laptop. The files were there. Bank records, meeting logs, photos of Gerald entering a townhouse in Walnut Creek, different photos of him leaving, timestamps, dates. I forwarded them to a secure folder, encrypted, backed up. Then I went back to work. At 6:30, I left the office, drove across the bay to Tyler's apartment building. It was in the marina, high-rise, good views, expensive rent. He'd moved in 2 years ago after his last breakup. I parked, took the elevator up, knocked. Tyler opened the door. He looked tired, guilty. He stepped aside without saying anything. Melissa was already there, sitting on the couch. Her husband, Brandon, stood by the window. Nobody looked happy. "Thanks for coming," I said. We didn't have a choice, Melissa said. You made that clear. You always have a choice. I walked in, closed the door. You made yours yesterday. Dad, let me finish. I stayed standing. I got served papers this afternoon. Your mother is suing me for half the company, $250 million, and both of you signed affidavits supporting her claim. It's not like that, Tyler said. Then what's it like? It's complicated. Melissa stood up. Mom explained everything. She showed us the numbers. You hid assets during the divorce. You undervalued the company. You cheated her. I didn't. That's not what the lawyers say. The lawyers work for her. Of course, that's what they say. Mom wouldn't lie to us, Tyler said. I looked at him. Really looked at him. My son, tall, lean, dark hair like mine used to be. He had my jaw, Claire's eyes. When he was 6, he used to wait by the door every night for me to come home. Wouldn't eat dinner until I got there. Used to tell people his dad built things. She's not lying, I said. She believes what she's saying, but she's wrong, and you're helping her destroy something I spent 12 years building. It's not about destroying anything, Melissa said. It's about fairness. You made $500 million. Mom got $7 million. That's not fair. The company was worth $40 million when we divorced. She got her share. Based on numbers you provided? Based on a professional valuation. 3 different firms. Your mother's lawyers approved it. They were wrong. I sat down then, across from them. Brandon was still by the window, silent, watching. He was smart, knew when to stay out of family fights. Let me tell you what's really happening, I said. Your mother remarried a man who specializes in aggressive financial recovery. He makes his living finding loopholes in divorce settlements and exploiting them. He did the math on my company, realized there was potential for a big payday, and convinced your mother she was cheated. And now you're both caught in the middle. That's not fair, Tyler said. None of this is fair. I leaned forward. But here's what's going to happen. They're going to freeze my assets. They're going to tie the company up in litigation. And when they realize they can't win, they're going to offer to settle. For less than they're asking for. But still enough to cripple the business. And you'll both get a cut. That's what this is really about. Melissa looked away. Mom said you'd try to turn us against her, Tyler said. I don't need to turn you against anyone. I'm just telling you the truth. Your version of the truth. The only version that matters. We sat there, silent. The apartment felt too small suddenly, too warm. You're choosing her, I said finally. That's your right. But understand what you're choosing. You're choosing money over integrity. You're choosing to believe accusations over evidence. And you're choosing to participate in something that could destroy innocent people's livelihoods. The company employs 400 people. If this lawsuit succeeds, half of them will lose their jobs. That's not on us, Melissa said. But her voice was quieter now. It's on all of us. I stood up. You want to know what really bothers me? Not the lawsuit, not the money, not even the betrayal. It's that you didn't ask me first. You didn't call. You didn't question. You just signed the papers and assumed I was guilty. Tyler looked down. I raised you better than that, I said. I walked to the door, stopped, turned back. One more thing. Gerald Hastings, your mother's husband. He has a girlfriend in Walnut Creek. Sees her every Thursday. Has been for months. I have photos, timestamps, everything. Melissa stood up. You're lying. I'm not. And if you'd done even basic research before signing those papers, you'd know that. But you didn't. Because this was never about truth. It was about taking sides. I opened the door. Dad, wait. Tyler started. But I was already gone. I drove home slowly, took the long way, stopped at an overlook above the bay and sat there for a while, watched the lights come on across the water, San Francisco glowing in the distance, ships moving through the strait. My phone buzzed. Rachel. How'd it go? As expected. You okay? I will be. Come home. I did. She was waiting in the kitchen, had dinner ready, nothing fancy, pasta, salad, wine. We ate in silence for a while. They'll come around, she said finally. Maybe. You're their father, that matters. It should. She reached across the table again, squeezed my hand. We finished eating, cleaned up together, went to bed early, but I couldn't sleep. Around midnight, I got up, went back to my office, opened the secure folder, looked at the documents again, the warehouse, the one they didn't know about. I'd bought it 4 years ago, old building, industrial zone near the port, needed work. But the location was good, the bones were solid. I'd planned to renovate it, turn it into a distribution hub. But then the divorce happened, and I had other priorities. It was still listed under an old LLC, different name, different address. The corporate structure was buried under 3 layers of holding companies. Unless you knew exactly where to look, you'd never find it. Claire's lawyers hadn't found it. The building was insured, heavily. Fire coverage, theft coverage, natural disaster coverage. I'd updated the policy 6 months ago, increased the limits. The broker had questioned it at the time. I told him I was planning expansion. I pulled up the policy now, read through it, every clause, every exclusion, every trigger. Then I made a call. It's late, the voice on the other end said. I know, I need a favor. What kind of favor? The kind we don't talk about. Silence. I'll call you back in 10 minutes from a different number, he said. He did. What do you need? He asked. I told him. That's risky, he said. It's necessary. When? Tomorrow night. That's fast. It needs to be. You're sure about this? I am. He was quiet for a long moment. Then, I'll handle it. No connections, no traces. I know how this works. We hung up. I sat there in the dark, staring at the screen. What I was about to do was dangerous, illegal probably, definitely unethical. But they'd started this. I was just going to finish it. The plan was simple. Melissa and Tyler would tell their mother they wanted a family meeting. All of us, including Gerald. They'd say they wanted to resolve things peacefully, find a compromise, avoid more legal battles. Claire would agree. She always did when the kids asked for something. The meeting would be at my old warehouse location, the burned one. Symbolic, full circle. Why there? Tyler asked. Because I want them to see what their accusations led to. I want them standing in the ruins. That's dramatic. This whole thing is dramatic. We spent 2 days setting it up. Melissa handled communication with Claire. Tyler coordinated schedules. Brandon helped with logistics. I prepared the evidence. Gerald's videos, the investigators' reports, the countersuit documentation, the insurance payout confirmation. Everything that proved Gerald was exactly what I'd said, and everything that proved my company valuation was accurate. The meeting was set for Friday evening, 7 p.m. The site would be empty, dark, just us and the truth. Friday came fast. I spent the day at the office, normal work, but my mind was elsewhere, running through scenarios, preparing for contingencies. This had to go perfectly. At 6:30, I drove to the warehouse site. The burned shell looked worse at dusk. Shadows made the destruction deeper. The smell of ash still lingered. Frank was there waiting. He'd brought portable lights, set them up around the perimeter. Not bright, just enough to see. This is insane, he said. This is necessary. What if they don't show? They'll show. At 6:45, Tyler and Melissa arrived. They looked nervous. I didn't blame them. Mom's on her way, Melissa said. She thinks this is about reconciliation. It is, just not the kind she's expecting. At 7, 2 cars pulled up, Claire and Gerald in one. Behind them, a sedan I didn't recognize. 4 people got out, Claire's lawyers. I should have expected that. Claire walked over, Gerald beside her. The lawyers stayed back. This is the meeting spot? She asked, looking at the ruins. This is where everything changed, I said. David, I hope you're ready to be reasonable, Gerald said. We're prepared to discuss settlement terms. I'm not here to settle. Then why are we here? Because my children asked for this, and because I wanted you to see something. I pulled out my tablet, pulled up the first video. Gerald and the woman in Walnut Creek. Hit play. Claire watched. Her expression shifted. Confusion, recognition, horror. That's, she started. That's your husband cheating on you, 3 months ago. I pulled up the second video. Different woman, different location. 2 months ago. Third video. Last week. Gerald's face went pale. Those videos are manipulated. They're authenticated. Metadata verified. Timestamps confirmed. You've been systematically cheating on your wife since before you married her. Claire turned to Gerald. Is this true? It's taken out of context. Is it true? He didn't answer. She slapped him. Hard. The sound echoed across the empty lot. You bastard! Claire, let me explain. Explain what? That you're a liar? That you used me? I didn't use you. I love you. You love my money, my connections, my lawsuit against David. She turned to me. You knew about this. How long? Weeks. I tried to tell you. You didn't want to hear it. Because I trusted him. Because I thought... She stopped, looked at the lawyers. Did you know? They didn't answer. Did you know? She demanded. One of them stepped forward. We had suspicions, but we couldn't confirm. Get out, all of you, get out. The lawyers looked at Gerald. He nodded. They left. Now it was just us. Claire, Gerald, me, my kids, Frank in the background. Here's what's going to happen, I said. You're going to drop the lawsuit. Immediately. You're going to sign a document stating the divorce settlement was fair and accurate. And you're going to issue a public statement saying your accusations were based on bad information. Why would I do that? Claire asked. Because if you don't, I release these videos. I release the documentation showing Gerald's pattern of fraud. I release his history of suing clients. I release everything. And your name gets dragged through the mud along with his. You'd do that to the mother of your children? You tried to destroy my company, the company that employs 400 people, that supports dozens of families. Yes, I'd do that. She looked at Tyler and Melissa. Did you know about this? We knew he had evidence, Melissa said. We didn't know what it was. And you're okay with this? Blackmailing your own mother? It's not blackmail, Tyler said. It's truth. Gerald manipulated us. He manipulated you. Dad's just showing us who he really is. Gerald stepped forward. David, let's talk about this. Man to man. We can work something out. There's nothing to work out. You're a con artist. You saw an opportunity and you took it. But now it's over. You can't prove any of this. I can prove all of it. Court documents, client testimonies, video evidence. You're done. He looked at Claire, then at the lawyer's car driving away, then back at me. How much? He asked. What? How much to make this go away? Name your price. I laughed, actually laughed. You think this is about money? Everything's about money. Not this. This is about you trying to take something you didn't earn, and losing. He lunged at me then, quick, angry, desperate. Frank stepped between us, pushed Gerald back, hard. Don't, Frank said, quiet but firm. Gerald stumbled, caught himself, looked around, realized he was outnumbered. This isn't over, he said. Yes, it is. He turned to Claire. We're leaving. No. She didn't move. You're leaving. I'm staying. Claire, go. Before I call the police and show them these videos. Before I file charges for fraud and manipulation. Go. He looked at her, then at me, then at the kids. No allies left. He left. We watched his car drive away, taillights disappearing into the dark. Claire sat down on a chunk of concrete, put her head in her hands, started crying. Melissa went to her. Tyler hesitated, then followed. I stayed back, gave them space. After a while, Claire looked up. You win, David. You always win. I didn't want to win. I wanted to be left alone. I believed him. I actually believed we had a case. I know. The lawsuit was my idea. Gerald just showed me the numbers. But I'm the one who pushed it. I'm the one who convinced the kids. This is on me. Yes, it is. She stood up, wiped her eyes. I'll drop it, the lawsuit, tomorrow. I'll have my lawyers file the dismissal. Thank you. Don't thank me. I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing it because I can't live with myself if I don't. She walked toward her car, stopped, turned back. The warehouse, the fire. Did you? No. I don't believe you. I don't care. She got in her car, drove away. Tyler and Melissa came over. That was intense, Tyler said. That was necessary. What happens now? Melissa asked. Now we rebuild. The company, the relationships, everything. Can we rebuild? Tyler asked. After everything that happened? I don't know, but we're going to try. We stood there for a while, father and children, in the ruins of what was and the possibility of what could be. Then my phone buzzed. The insurance company. Mr. Brennan, we have good news. The full claim has been approved. $15 million. Payment will be processed Monday morning. Thank you. I hung up, looked at the burned building, the rubble, the ash. This was supposed to be the victory moment, the part where everything worked out, but all I felt was tired. Monday came like a hangover. The insurance money hit my account at 9 a.m. $15 million. I watched the numbers update, felt nothing. Claire's lawyers filed the dismissal that afternoon. The lawsuit was over. My countersuit was dropped simultaneously. Clean break, no admission of guilt on either side. The company's reputation recovered quickly. Clients called back, contracts resumed, investors relaxed. By Wednesday, it was like nothing had happened, except everything had happened. Tyler and Melissa wanted to have dinner, family dinner. Rachel suggested we host it at our place. Small, intimate, a chance to start over. I agreed. Friday night, 7 p.m. They showed up together. Tyler brought wine, Melissa brought dessert. We sat around our dining table like normal people. How's Mom? I asked. Devastated, Melissa said. She filed for divorce from Gerald yesterday. He didn't even contest it. Good. She wants to apologize. To you. Properly. She doesn't need to. Yes, she does. We all do. We ate, talked, caught up on normal things, their jobs, their lives, plans for the future. Nobody mentioned the lawsuit. Nobody mentioned the warehouse. After dinner, Tyler pulled me aside. I need to know something, he said. The fire. Did you have anything to do with it? Why does everyone keep asking me that? Because the timing was too perfect. Because you always have a plan. Because that building burning down solved a lot of problems. Sometimes buildings just burn down. Dad. I looked at him. My son. If I tell you the truth, what changes? I don't know. Maybe nothing. Maybe everything. Then maybe some questions are better left unasked. He studied me, then nodded. Okay. We went back to the table. Finished dessert. Melissa and Tyler left around 10. Hugs at the door. Promises to do this again soon. Rachel cleaned up. I helped. The house fell quiet. You never answered his question, she said. I know. Are you going to? No. Because you did it? Because it doesn't matter. The building's gone. The lawsuit's dropped. The insurance paid out. What difference does the truth make? The difference between you and Gerald. I stopped, put down the dish I was holding. I'm nothing like Gerald. No, you're not. But you're willing to cross lines he wouldn't even see. To protect what's mine. To win. Isn't that the same thing? She didn't answer. Just kept cleaning. That night, I couldn't sleep again. Got up around 2. Went to my office. Opened my laptop. The warehouse site had been cleared. The city required it. Debris removed, foundation inspected, clean slate. I'd already started planning the rebuild. Different design, better location, larger capacity. The insurance money was seed funding. I'd pour another 10 million in, make it the flagship hub, the centerpiece of the whole operation. From ashes, something better. Poetic, almost. My phone buzzed. Text message. Unknown number. Well played. If you need anything else, you know where to find me. The investigator, or the contractor, or whoever had helped me that night. I deleted the message, deleted the number from my recent calls, deleted every trace. Some secrets stay secret. The next week, I got a call from Claire. I'm selling the marine house, she said. Moving somewhere smaller, fresh start. Good for you. The kids tell me you're rebuilding the warehouse. I am. That's brave. After everything. It's business. Pause. Then, David, I need to know. Did you burn down that building? Why does it matter? Because if you did, it means I pushed you to something terrible. And I need to know if that's on me. It's not on you. Whatever happened, whoever's responsible, it was my choice. My action. You don't get to carry that. That's not an answer. It's the only answer you're getting. She hung up. I sat there, stared at my desk. The same desk where I'd built this company. The same office where I'd made 1,000 decisions. Some good, some questionable, all necessary. Rachel was right. I'd crossed a line, maybe not legally, but morally, ethically. I'd manipulated circumstances, orchestrated outcomes, played chess with people's lives. But I'd won. The company was safe. My reputation was intact. The insurance money was rebuilding something better, and my kids were back in my life. Was the cost worth it? I didn't know, still don't, but I'd do it again. That's what scared me most. The next morning, I drove to the warehouse site. New construction had already started. Foundation being poured, crews working, the sound of progress. Frank was there, supervising, clipboard in hand. Looking good, I said. Should be done in 6 months, maybe less if we push. Don't push, do it right. He nodded. Then, David, can I ask you something? Depends on the question. The fire, the investigation, everything. Are we clear, legally, ethically? We're clear. You're sure? I'm sure. He didn't look convinced, but he didn't push. I left him there, drove back to the office. Work was waiting, always was. Life was returning to normal, whatever that meant. But sometimes, late at night, I'd wake up, stare at the ceiling, see the flames, smell the smoke. Remember standing on that hill, watching my warehouse burn. And I'd wonder, who was I becoming? The man who built something? Or the man who destroyed it? Maybe both. Maybe that's what winning costs. 3 weeks later, everything collapsed again. I was in my office when the call came. Fire inspector, the one who'd ruled it accidental. Mr. Brennan, we need to talk, in person. About what? About the fire. New evidence has come to light. My stomach dropped. What kind of evidence? I'd rather discuss this in person. Can you come to my office this afternoon? I'll be there. I hung up, sat there, mind racing. What had they found? What had I missed? I called the investigator. Went straight to voicemail. Called the contractor who'd helped me. Number disconnected. Shit. I drove to the fire inspector's office. Small building, city department, utilitarian. He was waiting in a conference room. Another man with him, older, suit, detective probably. Mr. Brennan, this is Detective Harris. Arson Division. We shook hands, sat down. What's this about? I asked. The inspector opened a folder, pulled out photos. We did a secondary inspection of the site last week. Standard procedure for insurance claims over 10 million. And we found something. He laid out the photos, close-ups of the electrical panel, the wiring, the burn patterns. This is the northeast corner, he said, where the fire started. Initially, it looked like faulty wiring, old system, overload, but when we dug deeper, we found this. He pointed to a photo. Specific wire, specific connection. This wire was cut, deliberately, then reconnected in a way that would cause arcing, create a spark, start a fire. That doesn't mean, it means someone tampered with your electrical system, someone who knew exactly what they were doing, someone who wanted this building to burn. Detective Harris leaned forward. The question is, was it you? I sat back, forced myself to stay calm. Why would I burn down my own building? Insurance money, $15 million, plus you were in the middle of a contentious lawsuit. This fire destroyed potential evidence, convenient timing. I didn't do this. Then who did? I don't know. Maybe vandals. Maybe someone with a grudge. The building was secured, locked, alarmed, no signs of forced entry. Then someone had a key. Who has keys to your properties, Mr. Brennan? My operations manager, security contractors, a few other staff members. We'll need their names. I gave them Frank's name, a few others. Tried to keep my voice steady, but my mind was screaming. They knew, or suspected, or had enough to push harder. Here's what's going to happen, Detective Harris said. We're opening a formal arson investigation. We'll be interviewing everyone associated with this property. We'll be reviewing your financial records. We'll be looking at your timeline around the fire, and if we find evidence that you orchestrated this, you'll be charged with arson and insurance fraud. I didn't do anything wrong. Then you have nothing to worry about. They let me go, but the damage was done. I drove home, hands shaking, mind spinning. How had I missed this? How had they found it? Rachel was waiting when I got there. She saw my face. What happened? I told her. She sat down. Hard. Oh, God. They don't have proof. They're fishing. David, if they prove you did this, they won't. How can you be sure? Because I was careful. Because I covered everything. You told me you didn't do it. I looked at her. I lied. She stood up, walked away, turned back. You actually did it. You burned down your own building. To protect everything we have. To stop them from destroying the company. This isn't protecting anything, this is... She stopped, shook her head. I can't believe this. Rachel, don't, just don't. She went upstairs, locked the bedroom door. I sat in the kitchen, alone. The house felt empty, cold. My phone rang. Melissa. Dad, the police just called. They want to talk to me and Tyler about the warehouse. What did you tell them? Nothing yet. We're supposed to go in tomorrow. What's going on? They think the fire was arson. Was it? Silence. Oh my God, Dad, what did you do? I protected us. By committing a crime? By doing what was necessary. This is insane. You could go to prison. Only if they prove it. And they can't. How do you know? Because I'm smarter than they are. She hung up. One by one, everyone was leaving. Rachel, Melissa, Tyler probably. All of them realizing what I'd become. But I couldn't stop now. I called my lawyer, explained the situation. Jesus Christ, David! Tell me you didn't actually do this. I need to know my options. Your options are confess or pray they don't find evidence. Because if they prove arson and you've been lying about it, the insurance company will sue you for $15 million plus damages, and you'll face criminal charges. This is serious. I know it's serious. Then why did you do it? Because they were going to take everything. The company, the money, my reputation. I couldn't let that happen. So you burned down a building. I removed a problem. He was quiet for a long time. Then, I can't represent you on this. If you did what they're accusing you of, I can't ethically defend you. You need a criminal attorney. You're abandoning me. I'm protecting myself, and you should do the same. Seriously, David, if you did this, confess now. Take a plea, before they find evidence that makes it worse. He hung up. I sat there, phone in my hand, options evaporating. The next morning, Rachel came downstairs, packed bag in her hand. I'm going to stay with my sister for a while. Rachel, I love you, David, but I can't be here while you're lying to everyone, including yourself. I did this for us. You did this for you, for your ego, for your need to win. That's not fair. Life's not fair. You taught me that, remember? She left. The house was empty now, just me and the consequences. Over the next week, they interviewed everyone. Frank, my staff, Tyler, Melissa. They went through my phone records, my bank statements, my timeline. They found the maintenance reports, the ones Frank filed documenting problems. That helped. It showed the building had issues, legitimate reasons it might catch fire. But they also found something else. A payment. $5,000. Cash withdrawal, 2 days before the fire. They asked me about it. I said it was for contractor deposits. They asked for receipts. I said I lost them. They didn't believe me. Another week passed. The investigation continued. The insurance company froze the payout, said they were waiting for criminal investigation results. The company started hemorrhaging cash. Without the insurance money, I couldn't finish the rebuild. Without the rebuild, I couldn't expand. Without expansion, investors got nervous. Stock price dropped, contracts got delayed, staff morale tanked. Everything I'd fought to protect was crumbling anyway. Tyler called. Dad, you need to confess. Mom's a mess. Melissa's having panic attacks. Rachel left you. The company's tanking. Just admit what you did and deal with the consequences. I can't. Why not? Because if I confess, I lose everything. The company, my freedom, everything I built. You're losing it anyway. At least if you confess, you'll have your integrity. Integrity doesn't pay the bills. No, but it lets you sleep at night. He hung up. I stood in my empty house. Empty office. Empty life. Was this winning? I'd beaten the lawsuit, gotten rid of Gerald, secured insurance money, but I'd lost my wife, my kids' respect, my lawyer, my peace. And now I might lose everything else, too. The detective called. Mr. Brennan, we'd like you to come in for another interview. Bring your attorney. I don't have one right now. Then I suggest you get one. This is your opportunity to tell your side before we make our final determination. I knew what that meant. They had enough, or thought they did. This was their chance to get a confession. I sat in my office, looked at the company I'd built, 400 employees, 6 states, 12 years of work, all of it built on smart decisions and hard work, and all of it about to collapse because of one bad choice, one fire, one lie. I picked up my phone, started to call Tyler, to apologize, to explain. But I stopped, because explaining wouldn't change anything. The damage was done. I'd wanted to win, needed to win, did whatever it took to win, and I had, sort of, but winning looked a lot like losing from where I sat. The meeting with the detective was scheduled for tomorrow, 9 a.m. I had 12 hours to decide, confess or fight, admit what I did and face the consequences, or deny everything and pray they couldn't prove it. I sat there all night, weighing options, running scenarios. By dawn, I still hadn't decided. Maybe I never would. Maybe that was the real price of winning, not knowing when to stop, not knowing when enough was enough, not knowing the difference between fighting and destroying. I got dressed, drove to the police station, parked outside, sat there for a while, staring at the building, the doors, the threshold between everything and nothing. Then I got out of the car, walked inside, asked for Detective Harris. He came out, looked surprised to see me. Mr. Brennan, you're early. I know. I took a breath. I'm ready to tell you everything. He led me to an interview room, started the recorder, read me my rights, and I began to talk about the warehouse, the plan, the contractor, the fire, the insurance fraud, all of it, every detail, every choice, every consequence. When I finished, he sat back. That's quite a story, Mr. Brennan. It's the truth. Why confess now? Because my son was right. I'm losing everything anyway, at least this way. I keep my integrity. He nodded. Started the paperwork. I called Tyler from the police station, told him what I'd done. I'm proud of you, Dad. For committing fraud? For owning it. I called Melissa. She cried, said she'd visit me, said she loved me. I called Rachel, left a voicemail. I confessed, I'm sorry, for everything. I understand if you don't come back, but I wanted you to know I finally did the right thing. They arrested me that afternoon, charged me with arson and insurance fraud, set bail at $500,000. I posted it, got out the same day. The news ran the story that evening. Local executive arrested in warehouse fire fraud. My phone exploded. Media, investors, clients, everyone wanting statements, explanations, distance. I ignored them all, drove to my empty house, sat in my empty office, looked at my empty life. And for the first time in months, I felt something like peace, not happiness, not relief, but acceptance. I'd lost, completely. The lawsuit was over, but the cost was everything. My company would probably survive. Someone else would run it. Someone who didn't burn down buildings for insurance money. My kids would forgive me. Eventually. Maybe. Rachel might come back. Probably not. But at least I could sleep. At least I could look in the mirror. At least I could say I finally stopped. That night, I got one last text message. Unknown number. Sometimes winning means knowing when to quit. You figured it out late, but you figured it out. I didn't reply, just deleted it. Went to bed, and for the first time in months, I slept through the night.